The good, the bad, the ugly from the Vikings' 21-17 win over the Browns. The Minnesota Vikings needed a 10-play, 80-yard touchdown drive to defeat the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. As is usually the case, the game-winning drive was necessary due to miscues throughout the game. Although it wasn't a perfect game, the 21-17 victory demonstrated that the Vikings are starting to find some rhythm on offense. Injuries and untimely penalties are still hindering the unit's overall consistency, but it's starting to resemble a Kevin O'Connell offense. Here is the good, the bad, and the ugly from the Vikings' win. The good, the offense is coming together. The Vikings entered Sunday's game knowing they'd be without 3 starting offensive linemen. Even backup center Michael Juergens would be out, forcing Minnesota to start backup guard Blake Brandel at center, a position he had never played in a game. Complicating matters was that the depleted line would be facing the Browns' defensive line, the strength behind the league's top-ranked defense. Yet the Vikings gained 349 yards on 61 plays, a 5.7 yards per play average. Wentz was still sacked 3 times, but a quick passing game early on got the ball out of his hands. Later, the Vikings began attacking downfield more. Justin Jefferson had 3 receptions of 20-plus yards, totaling 123 yards on 7 receptions. Jordan Addison did most of his damage underneath, catching 5 passes for 41 yards. But he caught the final 3 passes on the final drive, including a 12-yarder to give the Vikings the lead. The running game wasn't spectacular, but they ran 23 times for 97 yards. It was an impressive performance from a unit that could have been overwhelmed by the Browns' defense. With a week to rest, the Vikings will hope to get some of their linemen back and continue to build upon an offense that has struggled to stay consistent through 5 weeks. The bad, self-inflicted wounds. The offensive attack could have looked even better had the Vikings not shot themselves in the foot twice. 2 penalties erased explosive plays. A 47-yard completion to Jalen Nailor was called back after a holding penalty. In the fourth quarter, a 19-yard run by Jordan Mason was negated by another hold. Penalties weren't the only thing that plagued the offense. Fumbles by Mason and backup running back Xavier Scott ended promising drives by the Vikings. The Browns had a 47-yard touchdown drive after the Mason fumble to give themselves an early 7-0 lead. The Scott fumble came at the Browns' 42-yard line. The ugly, the run defense. Some could say this, and the bad category could be switched. But the Browns entered Week 5 with the 3rd fewest rushing yards in the league. On Sunday, they ran 32 times for 140 yards and a touchdown. It's a troubling trend for the Vikings, who allowed the Falcons to run for 218 yards in Week 2, and the Steelers, who have the 31st ranked rushing attack, to run for 129 yards last week. This allowed Browns rookie quarterback Dillon Gabriel to operate a balanced offense that got the ball out of his hands quickly. He was 19 of 33 passing for 190 yards and 2 touchdowns. If the Vikings want to compete with the best teams in the NFC and allow Brian Flores to call his exotic blitz looks on 3rd and long, the run defense has to improve soon. Perhaps the early bye week is the perfect time for it. Fortunately, Blake Cashman is eligible to return following the bye week. Andrew Van Ginkel, who hasn't played the past 2 weeks, could return, too. This article originally appeared on Vikings Wire. The good, the bad, the ugly from the Vikings' win over the Browns. Sunday afternoon in Minneapolis was a study in contrasts, grit versus frustration, promise versus disappointment, and a razor-thin scoreboard that told a much deeper story than just 21-17. The Minnesota Vikings, riding the momentum of a strong start to their 2025 campaign, clawed their way past the Cleveland Browns in a game that was as emotional as it was erratic. For the Browns, it was another chapter in a growing saga of what could have been. For the Vikings, it was proof that resilience and opportunism can still win games in this league. Let's break down the good, the bad, and the ugly from a contest that had a little bit of everything. The good. Vikings' defensive poise. When the Vikings needed stops, their defense answered. Minnesota's front 7, led by Danielle Hunter and rookie standout Mekhi Blackmon, came alive in critical moments, pressuring Cleveland's rookie quarterback into hurried throws and costly decisions. Hunter, the eternal heartbeat of the Vikings' pass rush, looked vintage, slicing through Cleveland's protection for 2 sacks and multiple pressures that derailed drives before they even began. Defensive coordinator Brian Flores has built this unit on chaos, and against a rookie quarterback making his first NFL start, that chaos worked perfectly. Every disguised blitz, every late rotation, every delayed stunt seemed to sow confusion. The Vikings may not have dominated statistically, but their ability to make the right play at the right time was the difference. Justin Jefferson's dominance. Even after injuries and double coverage, Justin Jefferson remains inevitable. His stat line, 8 catches for 106 yards and a touchdown, doesn't just speak to production, but presence. Every time he lined up, the Browns' secondary tilted toward him, opening opportunities for others. His touchdown, a dazzling 24-yard catch where he split 2 defenders and toe-tapped the back of the end zone, reminded everyone that few players in the NFL can take over a game quite like him. When the Vikings needed momentum, Jefferson provided it. When they needed a closer, he was there again. Dillon Gabriel's poise under pressure. Cleveland's rookie quarterback Dillon Gabriel had a rocky debut, but amid the chaos, there were flashes of genuine promise. His arm strength popped on a few deep throws, and his mobility bought time against a relentless pass rush. While his stat line won't turn heads, 17 of 29 for 186 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, it was the moments that mattered. His third-quarter touchdown pass to Amari Cooper was an absolute dime, a perfectly placed throw on a corner route that threaded between 2 defenders. For all the ups and downs, Gabriel didn't look overwhelmed. That's something for the Browns to build on. The bad. Browns missed opportunities. The Browns had the ball, the time, and the chance to win. But as has been the story far too often, they couldn't finish. 2 red zone trips ended in field goals instead of touchdowns, and another promising drive was snuffed out by a holding penalty that set them back. Cleveland's offense has the pieces, a bruising run game, veteran receivers, and now a rookie quarterback brimming with potential, but the execution just wasn't there. Kevin Stefanski's play calling was conservative at times, especially late, and it cost them. The Browns' inability to seize the moment is what separates good teams from great ones. Offensive line struggles. Cleveland's offensive line, once a point of pride, looked shaky. Protection broke down far too often, and the running lanes Nick Chubb used to own simply weren't there. The Vikings' defensive front overpowered them in key moments, particularly on third downs. It's hard to evaluate Gabriel fully when he's constantly under siege. The Browns allowed 4 sacks and countless pressures, forcing their rookie QB to rely on instinct rather than rhythm. Until that line settles down, it's going to be a long season for Cleveland's passing game.